Thanks for joining us. So, Sherif, for people that don't know you, tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Sherif Mityas. I am the president of Briss Holdings, which is a multi-concept restaurant portfolio company based down here in Dallas, Texas. And we franchise and operate about 7 different brands, restaurant brands. So for those of you in the Northeast, you may know Friendly's restaurants. We also have a couple of frozen yogurt concepts, Red Mango and Orange Leaf. We have a super salad concept. We have a smoothie factory concept. We also have a red brick pizza, Humble Donuts. So got all these brands. We have about almost 400 locations now across 40 states here in the United States and some international. And so as the president of Briss, my job is obviously to help drive the growth, the vitality, and the success of these brands for both our shareholders and obviously our franchise partners. And really looking towards, growing this portfolio, growing the brands we have, but also acquiring new brands as we go forward, and really creating an opportunity to, serve different guests across different day parts, across different cuisine types, no matter where they're looking for a food and beverage occasion. So that's the fun job I get to do every day.
And also trying out everything that comes out, right?
I did just get to try out new popcorn frozen yogurt, believe it or not, and it's better than it sounds.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take your word for that. All right, so what do you like to do? So now you told us a little bit about you, professional day-to-day. What's your passion?
What do I like to do outside of work? I actually still connected to this whole industry. I love to cook. I love trying new things and bringing new recipes and having my family be my taste testers and going out and trying new restaurants. I love trying new brands and new concepts and seeing what's out there and some of the amazing chefs that are creating kind of the next generation of food out there.
That's awesome. And it's really cool that you got to marry these things, your day job and your passions together. So, okay, the concept is very simple, right? 3 questions, 1 on marketing, 1 on leadership, 1 on technology. You actually are also an award-winning IT executive. You have a strong marketing background. You did marketing at TGI Fridays and then moved into the Chief Innovation Officer role. And then also, you've got this breadth of experience that serves you well as president of Briss. So I think you can speak to all 3 of them very well.
Thank you.
So you chose future, right?
I did.
All right, so let's get into it. So for marketing, here's my question to you. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. Just curious to hear your thoughts on it. So when you were at TGI Fridays, you worked on AI. You implemented AI to increase the bottom line, right? I think it increased by 30 or 300 million, something like that.
Correct. A lot.
Yeah. So that was cutting edge when you did that, which was 4 years ago?
That's right.
And so now there's new technology, right?
Yes.
There's the metaverse, there's Meta that's trying to push this on us. With the way that technology is going, what do you see as the next big marketing technology for businesses to implement to be successful?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because when we say marketing technology, right, we kind of say, what is this marriage around, how do we create what I'll call more stickiness with guests, right? And how do we create an opportunity to engage with them wherever they may be, right? That's really kind of the holy grail. And in our sector, it's, when anyone's thinking about eating or drinking, will they think about your brand, right? Will they think about the experience they have with your brand? And how do you use technology to do that, right? And so, yes, we have folks now walking around the metaverse, right? Their avatars are walking around, they're sitting and meeting friends at a virtual Starbucks or at a virtual Taco Bell. It's interesting though, because kind of coming out of the pandemic, you would have thought, well, people got used to that. They're going to stay in their homes. They're just going to watch their screens. But actually the opposite's happening as well. People are going out. And what does that tell us? Well, that tells us people still love human interaction. They still love real experiences. They still love to go out and meet friends in the real world. And so I think, we have to understand the metaverse. We have to invest in the metaverse. We have to understand the technologies that apply and will help us grow awareness, grow our brand, grow that kind of marketing stickiness we all strive for. but we also have to use technology to enhance real world experiences. How do we bring technology into the bricks and mortar? How do we bring technology as people are driving to work, to school, to play? And when they're out and about in the world, I think I'm gonna use the term experiential technology. Mm-hmm. And it's really kind of these new platforms that allow you to interact and enhance the experience actually when you're not just sitting by yourself in front of a screen. It's when you're actually with people. It's when, some of the new concepts out there, you take a look at, what Topgolf has done, right? They've used technology in a sport to create a brand new experience that brings people together in the real world and have fun, right? Mm-hmm. And so you look at those types of things and, how can you do that maybe at a frozen yogurt shop where you can use technology to maybe create something on a screen, the frozen yogurt, the toppings, and then have it made for you, right? So how do you enhance that experience? How do you take that screen, that photo shoot of what you just created and then post it on all of your social networks so you can share it with your friends and you can make it your own? Mm-hmm. Personalize that experience. That to me is how brands in the future are really going to start thinking about experiential technology that brings the experience more to life. If I'm going to come to your brand, if I'm going to interact with your brand, it has to do something for me that's different. It has to have a uniqueness to it. And more people are looking for differentiation that they can do in groups, that the shared experience becomes more important than just mine alone. And I think that's the holy grail that people are trying to unlock right now.
That's really interesting. So personalization, right, which has been around for a while, but even more so now, being memorable, so making it memorable, and then sharing. So the sharing part, both, it could be in person or virtually with the dissemination of that, whatever you create, say the frozen yogurt, right?
Right.
Put that online and share it with your friends.
Yeah. And I think that's the key is people, I think the social media and social networks that are out there now have created this see me, know me mentality, right? I'm sharing more of myself. I'm sharing what I'm doing. I'm sharing what I'm eating. I'm sharing who I'm with. I'm sharing that I'm at this concert. To me, all these folks that are doing that, especially in the restaurant sector, are your marketers, right? I might have a 6-person marketing department that actually sits here in Dallas. I've got 1 million marketers that share pictures of the food and drink they have in my establishments every day. Those are my marketers. How do I unleash their power, right? They're all mini influencers, right? We talk about tapping into influencers, people that have 1 million followers or 10 million followers. I'm okay with someone that has 30 followers.
Yeah.
Because those 30 followers are loyal to that person posting. They want to share that experience that person, that their friend just had in one of our establishments, in one of our locations. So if someone had a great experience at a Friendly's, had a great experience at an Orange Leaf or a Red Mango, and they share that, how do I tap into that microcosm of the influencers, the influencing body that they have? That's really the key. How do I unleash the power of my 1 million member marketing department?
I think that's a great takeaway. It's about organic and grassroots. So instead of always focusing on that 1 million follower influencer, really the ones that are going to bring you the best ROI is the grassroots with maybe 30, 100, maybe even 1,000. That's a big number.
It's a big number. And a lot of people have that. My daughter has 1,000 followers and she's 14. So it's not that hard to have a lot of followers, and the influence that these folks have is extraordinary.
Yeah, agreed completely. All right, so leadership. So you've led projects, you've led teams, and we talked a little bit about, you led this whole transformation really in Fridays with AI. You've led your own company, you had your own consultancy. So what are you most excited about with regards to leadership at Briss?
I think, again, kind of taking this umbrella of future, I'm actually most excited about the next generation from a leadership perspective. And I'd say that for two reasons. I think when I look at the future leaders, not only in our organization, but those that have been fortunate enough to lead and to work with in other organizations, it's not afraid to say this, they're much farther than we were when we were younger and in those positions. They've taken and more risks, they've done more, they've learned more. And it's interesting, they kind of look to us as mentors and as leaders to guide them, to tell them the lessons learned of the past, right? And the one thing I'll always tell them is, yeah, okay, that's one brick in your path. Learn from our mistakes, learn from our lessons, but don't let it be the guardrails. Let it be a brick that you step on and you move forward, because you should be better than us. You will be better than us when you become future leaders in our roles, because you're not only benefiting from our experience, but you're getting so much more than we did. And you're learning faster than we did. One reason is because of the technology, but also because of just the experiences that this generation has had growing up and what they've been exposed to. And so I'm really excited about the future of not only leadership at my organization, and kind of when I look at the succession plans we have and our future folks that we brought on board, but other organizations as well that, again, I've had the good fortune of interacting with. It's really, I think, leaderships and the ability of future leaders to not just do more, be better, but to be more inclusive, more visionary, to use technology, right? Not as a support function, not as an add-on, but as a strategic lever to achieve where they want to go. And I think people that are already coming in with that mindset, people that grew up basically with a supercomputer in their hand, have a very different mentality than when we were growing up, and have just a very different outlook in the world. We kind of learned how to use technology. They were raised on it. And to me, that's going to make them better, much better than us when they become C-suite level executives. And to me, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you said. I mean, obviously leveraging technology and connected, right? I mean, they're much more connected than we ever were.
Correct. It's amazing.
Yeah, they talk to people on the other side of the pond regularly, right? And for us, it took us into our 20s to get there when we went off to college. But also what I really like about what you said is the pushing. So as we're ushering in this new wave of leaders, how do we push them or cultivate that risk-taking, but calculated risk-taking?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's the key is, understanding it's okay to make mistakes, right? Again, that it's okay to take some calculated risks. It'll make you better. It'll make you stronger. It'll make you more resilient when you get further in your career. And the nice thing is they're already kind of coming in with that mentality, right? They've kind of already been taught. We've kind of taught our kids and kids, the generation before is, you fall down, you get up, keep going, right? Scrape your knee, get up. And I think they're coming in with that, let's just plow through this wall mentality. And that's going to make us all better. Yeah.
And I also want to touch on something else that you said, and it goes back to our first comment about inclusivity and community, grassroots, organic. They say that this next generation, Gen Z, is much more frugal. They shop at thrift shops. They seem more like the 60s kids than any other era, right? But with technological advancements. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that piece and the inclusivity piece is critical because, I look at my daughters and I look at, kind of this generation that's coming on and some of our, directors and managers now. The nice thing is they don't see gender, they don't see color, they don't see sexual orientation. They don't, right? They see the best person for the role. And, that's a long time coming. And that's unfortunate that we have to say that in the year 2022. But you kind of see this next wave, which is we are going to make a massive change. See a massive change in the makeup of the C-suite, the makeup of boards, and that's exciting because I'm proud to say half my executive team is women, and 55% of our organization is women. And I think that is not going to be this, oh, that's great, aha thing. That's going to be in not too distant future. Is that all? You know, it's going to be, that's not the exception anymore. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We gender equality, we have racial equality. And I think this mindset of the new leaders coming in is going to be, we don't see gender, color, sexual orientation. We see best people for the role. And that's how we promote, that's how we lead.
That's awesome. Yeah. So any company that's not putting a focus on inclusivity is really missing out. And this is your chance. So
this is your chance. Make it happen now.
Yep. All right. So last one, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So technology. So I know you have a lot to say on this, and I'll
keep it to 5 minutes, I swear.
I'm dying to hear. All right. So we've covered a little bit of technology in the marketing question, but let's dive a little bit deeper here. So what's next on the enterprise level? So now you've got this view, right? 30,000 foot view. You're no longer just in a subsection. So tell us about technology on the enterprise level. A couple of years ago, digital transformation, the D word, that was the buzz. Then the pandemic happened. What can we expect? What should companies be looking at to stay competitive here on the enterprise level?
Yeah, I think there's, obviously it's going to vary a little bit by sector and by industry, but I think there is this kind of push towards what I'll say is automation, robotics, basically creating opportunities to take a great deal of the kind of repetitive, scale-based types of processes, efforts, regardless of where they are in the enterprise, and removing them, basically, right? And kind of automating them, using robotics in certain manual areas, and I think taking it to the next level. So when we think about kind of thinking machines, right? And we're not talking Terminators here from the movies, but being able to really marry, I think, kind of this growing, very good capability around AI with automation, with robotics, and creating more, I would say, really efficiency, right? Because organizations need to become more efficient. It's just overall. And there's this whole issue on, kind of wage rates now in the industry and, how are we paying people and are we paying people a fair rate? I think we need to start looking at what we pay people and giving them jobs that appropriately allow us to pay them more, right? So if there's a job that, is just basically running French fries, from cooking French fries and running them to a table, maybe I don't want to pay anyone for that. And maybe it's a little robot server. But maybe I want to pay someone a great wage to do something more high level, more impactful, more important to the organization, and create better service roles, better jobs, better opportunities for folks, and take away some of those things that just don't make sense, right? In terms of people doing it, making it a fulfilling job, and giving them a great wage rate. So I think people across enterprise organizations across the board really have to look at, we need to do a better job with our team members and our employees. Mm-hmm. We understand kind of what roles we're putting people in, that they can have a livable wage. And for us to do that, we've got to take the roles that don't fill that metric, don't fill that need, and find a different solution. And technology can be that and allow people to do higher rewarding, higher paying, more impactful roles.
In your opinion, do enterprises focus on the skills gap, or do they focus on automation?
I think they've got to focus on first understanding what automation can do for you, right? Because that will set where do you start the bar, right? Because if I can automate this much of what I have to get done, then I know I need to deal with the rest, right? And then how do I understand the type of roles, the type of skills, the type of people, and the type of wage I can sustain and create kind of that right balance for both the organization and my employees. So but I think you have to understand first is what can technology take care of in your specific organization that makes it efficient, that makes it impactful, that makes it reasonable in terms of both a cost and service perspective. Once you know the base, then you got to work above that.
Yeah. So it seems like almost in parallel, right? You do need to do a base foundation,
Yes.
understanding, but then immediately when you understand that, start with the skills gap, right? Like start.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yes.
So I challenge you to a rapid fire. There's 3 questions.
Okay. I'm ready.
It's mostly icebreaker questions. All right. Okay. Since you said you're ready. First question. Who is your favorite Disney character and why?
Oh, my favorite Disney character. I'm old school. I like Mickey Mouse. He was the original. You can't beat Mickey. He's going strong after how many years? He was, I think he was the face of Disney, and look how big Disney is now.
Absolutely. So that actually is a great segue to the second question, which is, what is the most iconic brand that you know of that you relish, that you love in your entire lifetime?
Wow, that's a tough question. Iconic brand. I'm going to say Porsche. Porsche is one of my favorite brands. Just kind of their history, the way they've evolved as a brand, always true to who they are. Even though other car companies, kind of do different things, and they are who they are, always have been. And I love that brand.
Nice. You can't go wrong with a nice Porsche. 3, which is, what did you learn, either, education-wise or about yourself during the pandemic that you didn't know beforehand?
I think that the pandemic taught me personally that I think it's more about how you interact with people that gets things done versus kind of always having to be there, right? That words matter. And it's not just a matter of, you got to have everyone in the office. You got to see body language. You got to see all that stuff. If you choose your words correctly and all you have is Zoom calls and all you have is phone calls and you want to get things done, words matter. Right? How you speak, your tone, your effect, motivate, sometimes don't motivate, sometimes drive, sometimes disincent. And that I think you've got to take that, and I took it, and made me hopefully a better leader now that I'm back in person with my team. It matters. And, choose your words carefully because, people do listen and people do want to do better and want to be, an impactful part of the organization. And so what you say and how you say it, always kind of understanding that what people are going through may not be shown on their face, and listen as well and as meaningful as you want to speak, because words matter.
Oh, thank you. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, thank you so much for having me. I appreciated the conversation, and I got to go back to selling frozen yogurt. So.